In combat, 10 seconds is not time. It's a verdict. At 3:42 in the morning, surrounded by enemy fire, Staff Sergeant Michael Carter was given 10 seconds to decide, not how to complete the mission, but who would walk away alive. Before an assault, silence is never empty. It is loaded with intent, awareness, and restraint. At 0458 hours, just outside a fortified compound on the edge of a Middle Eastern city, Staff Sergeant Ethan Cole crouched behind a low concrete barrier, rifle secured, eyes locked forward. The night was fading, replaced by the dull gray of approaching dawn. Visibility was increasing, and with it, the risk. The air smelled of dust, oil, and metal. Every man in the squad was still. Silence, at this moment, was not peace, it was preparation. The operation order had been issued before sunrise. Intelligence confirmed a hostile cell operating from within the compound, storing weapons and coordinating attacks in the area. The squad's task was straightforward: conduct a deliberate breach, clear the structure, secure all personnel and materials, and hold for follow-on forces. Rules of engagement were tight. Speed and coordination were critical. Ethan had led enough assaults to know that the mission did not truly begin with the breach. It began in the moments before it. Ethan checked his squad without turning his head. They were positioned in a staggered formation, covering sectors automatically. Corporal Harris knelt closest to the breach point, methodical and steady, his weapon already aligned. Private Morales stood just behind him, alert but tense, breathing slightly faster than regulation. Sergeant Lewis monitored the radio traffic, his posture relaxed but focused. Each man knew his role. Each man understood the next 30 seconds could define the entire operation. Training prepares soldiers for action, not for waiting. Waiting creates space for thoughts that have no place on a battlefield. Ethan felt them pressing in despite his discipline. He forced them back. He focused on procedure, timing, angles, contingencies. The waiting period before an assault is where control is tested. Any movement too early could compromise the element of surprise. Any hesitation too long could expose the unit. Balance mattered. Silence enforced that balance. Small sounds became pronounced. The faint electrical hum from a nearby structure. The muted shift of gear as a man adjusted his stance. The controlled click of a sling settling into place. Somewhere beyond the compound, a vehicle engine started and died. Ethan listened without reacting. These sounds were not distractions. They were confirmation that the world was still operating, unaware of what was about to happen. The radio vibrated softly against Ethan's chest. Stand by, 30 seconds. He raised his fist, signaling the squad to lock in. Movement stopped completely. Weapons were up. Eyes fixed. Breathing slowed. The countdown was not shouted. It did not need to be. Every man understood what 30 seconds meant. It was the final window before commitment. There would be no reset after this point. Ethan leaned slightly toward Morales. "You set?" he asked quietly. "Yes, Sergeant," Morales replied without hesitation. Ethan accepted the answer. Leaders do not second-guess confidence in moments like this. He shifted his attention back to the breach point. The responsibility did not feel heavy anymore. It felt absolute. Whatever happened next would unfold because he allowed it to begin. As the countdown continued, Ethan noticed what was missing. No wind. No voices. No unnecessary movement. The environment itself seemed paused. This absence of sound was not recorded in after-action reports. It did not exist in training manuals. but every experienced soldier recognized it. The silence before contact. The sound of restraint before violence. The final moment when nothing has happened yet, and everything still can. 5 seconds, came the calm transmission. Ethan tightened his grip on his rifle. His focus narrowed to the breach point, the entry angle, the first step forward. He felt no fear. Fear had already served its purpose earlier. What remained was intent. He leaned forward slightly, ready to move. Then he heard it. It was subtle, mechanical, deliberate. The click of Morales disengaging his rifle safety. The sound was barely audible, but unmistakable to anyone trained to hear it. That click meant readiness. It meant commitment. It meant there was no turning back. For Ethan, that sound marked the end of waiting. It was the last sound before the charge. Go! Ethan surged forward, issuing commands as breaching charges detonated against the gate. The silence was obliterated instantly by control violence. Gunfire echoed through the compound. The squad moved as trained, fast, aggressive, disciplined. Rooms were cleared. Threats neutralized. There was no time for reflection, only execution. The interior fight was intense but efficient. Each man operated within his lane, calling out movements, clearing corners, maintaining fire discipline. Dust filled the air, visibility dropped, but momentum was maintained. Within minutes, the compound was secured. The objective was achieved. Casualties were minimal. The operation was, by every formal measure, a success. Once control was established, the noise receded. Weapons were lowered. Radios resumed their steady chatter. Medics moved in. As the adrenaline drained, a different kind of quiet returned. Not the silence from before, but a hollow one. Ethan felt it settle in his chest. The fight was over, but something remained unresolved. Days later, back at base, Ethan lay awake listening to routine sounds, the closing of a locker, boots on concrete, a switch being flipped. Each time, his mind returned to that moment. Not the explosions, not the shouting, just that single, quiet click. The sound that marked the point of no return. It followed him, not as trauma, but as memory. Years from now, Ethan knew he would be asked about the mission, about tactics, about outcomes. He would answer professionally. What he would never explain was this: before every charge, before every act of controlled violence, there is a sound that defines the moment. Not the loud ones, but the last quiet one. And once a soldier hears it, he understands exactly what it means.